In 2023, a woman identified only as Miss R, who had already been deported twice, was about to be deported for a third time. She was being held at the Otay Mesa Detention Center, and that's where a lawyer from San Diego County's Immigrant Legal Defense Program looked over her case. And the lawyer discovered that the woman had been a U.S. citizen since 1982.
The U.S. government had messed up, made a clerical error on their paperwork, and they were a U.S. citizen.
That's County Supervisor Tara Lawson-Remer. She created the Legal Defense Program to protect people like Miss R, who are facing deportation without an attorney.
And this, to me, is such a perfect example of why you need to ensure due process and that the Constitution is followed. So you could have a U.S. citizen being deported.
To qualify for the program, people have to be physically detained at the Otay Mesa Detention Center or on some kind of monitored release program. Lawson-Remer says this program addresses systematic injustices in immigration court.
And in immigration court, even though you have a legal right to counsel, it's a right in theory because there's no attorneys provided. And so you could show up in immigration court and not have an attorney. You don't understand what the law is. You don't know what you've been charged with.
And that means some people get deported not because of the strength of their argument or the quality of their evidence, but because they simply do not understand our complex immigration laws. And data from the immigration court system bears this out. Last year, 85% of people without lawyers got deportation orders, but only 14% of people with lawyers got the same outcome. Showing up in court without a lawyer puts a defendant at a significant disadvantage. So says Paulina Reyes-Berariz, a lawyer with the Immigrant Defenders Law Center.
Maybe they missed something in their story that would have been helpful to highlight in their asylum claim, perhaps that they thought it wasn't important at the time, or were able to also connect them with health services, mental health services, the medical evaluation to really document perhaps the scars that they have on their bodies, something that they would not have shown in front of a judge.
Reyes-Berariz says the program is more important than ever now that Donald Trump is back in the White House and promising an unprecedented mass deportation operation.
So if we see more, perhaps, expedited removals or ICE raids within our community, we're able to use this program for anyone that might need an attorney, especially if it's going to be longtime citizens or residents here in San Diego County.
Now, the program is not without controversy. The County Board of Supervisors approved it in 2021 on a 3-2 vote, with Democrats voting in favor and Republicans in opposition. At the time, Supervisor Jim Desmond said,
"To me, this is a federal issue, and unfortunately, not the financial responsibility of a local county government."
In 2023, Supervisor Joel Anderson tried to block people with criminal convictions from getting pro bono legal representation. That effort ultimately failed. The program cost taxpayers just over $4 million in its first 2 fiscal years. It is fully funded for the current fiscal year. Michael Garcia is the county's chief deputy public defender. He manages the program. More than 40 lawyers participate, but Garcia says that is still not enough to meet the demand.
In San Diego, there's a limited number of resources when it comes to immigration representation. There aren't that many lawyers. It's not like people aren't getting rich, doing immigration laws.
And these cases take a long time to make their way through the court system.
That creates a lot of challenges in, making sure that caseloads aren't too high, that our lawyers aren't overworked. It's part of the reason why I'm always kind of looking for lawyers.
Garcia says that without more lawyers, the program may have to limit the number of cases they assign. Lawson-Remer is already thinking of ways to expand the program.
Do we need to increase it, right? Like scale it up, especially given what we might see coming out of, or what we are seeing coming out of Washington. So there might be a need to increase the program.
And she might already be getting some help from Sacramento. Earlier this month, Governor Gavin Newsom signed a law that puts aside $25 million for legal groups to help them defend immigrants facing deportation. Gustavo Solis, KPBS News.